I'm Robert McClendon. I'm from Magnolia, Texas, and my ex-girlfriend and her daughter, they filed false charges on me, and they had me charged with assault with a deadly weapon. Anyway, the two women, they could not, when they went into court, they could not keep their story straight. They had absolutely zero evidence that I had done anything wrong, and they left letters that were found a year after my conviction where they had written down their plans. Their names is Christine Ann Trent and Paula Eileen Trent, which is Christine's daughter. And they have done this before with her previous husband and another boyfriend. When we went into court, they were allowed to just lie and just say anything, and they were questioned, and the jury, I don't understand, but the jury heard everything they said, and they still found me guilty, and anybody can plainly see that they were lying. The police officer knew they was lying. And the police officer, the arresting police officer, he testified in my behalf. So between that and no evidence, and they had absolutely no evidence that I'd done anything wrong, and no witnesses, no nothing. They found me guilty just on that alone, and I have never been in trouble before in my life. These women are still allowed to run the streets and do this to whoever else they want to. We have taken the letter of their written plans to the courthouse and showed it to them, and they have paid no attention to it. The two ladies had their motives. The girl was lining men up outside her bedroom window and dragging them in one at a time at all hours of the night, taking her turns with them. And she was mad because I locked the windows. That's after my home was broken into by one of them. The mother, she was pregnant, and a couple weeks before that, she had lost the baby. And her only explanation was the baby collapsed. Well, baby bones do not collapse. And she said she went to Christina's court and said that she had a tumor or something like that, and they said she had pseudocyesis. That's wrong. She had 2 positive urine tests and 1 positive blood test. Not only that, she was 8.5 months pregnant. She went and she went to a baby shower and received a bunch of maternity clothes, and she had been wearing those maternity clothes. She told everybody at the church where I delivered food to the homeless people that the baby collapsed. That's about as far as it goes. Now, we started catching up to them. They never thought that we would figure out what they did. But the more stuff we went to digging through and finding those letters, we found a bunch of other writings that completely contradicts every single thing that was said that they testified for or about in court. You know, and they just act like it's a nothing. How they found me guilty, I don't know, but the judge, pre-conviction phase, took them out to a very nice Italian restaurant downtown. Kind of makes me wonder how many bottles of wine that they had. You know, some of that very nice wine, you know, to get that to sway in their direction. But there was nothing honest about this trial at all. You know, the fact that nothing was ever considered, the fact that I've never been in trouble. I don't go out, rob people, kill people, stupid stuff like that. I don't do that. I mind my own business. And them taking that into consideration, it just didn't happen. You know, and now they've convicted me as a felon, and it trashed my life. Not only that, after they did that, they put a protective order against me. They stole every single thing of value out of my home that I owned. And then, of course, they lied about that. But yet, the police went out to the brother's house and questioned him. And he said something about her boyfriend took those items to a flea market to sell them. You know, we got extremely upset about that. My brother and sister has hired 2 airplanes, banner planes, and was flying them around the courthouse with americaswrongfullyconvicted.com on them, which is our website, where my complete story can be read. And all of the evidence is there, almost all of it. We're holding some evidence back because if we ever get them in court, we're going to use that to corner them. But now the 2 women, they're running and hiding. It's like, well, they think they've disappeared, but it's like they've disappeared completely. You know, they will not come out and defend their honor. You know, if you're right about something or you're fighting something, you'll defend your honor. But they have not even so much as even tried to sue us, and we've offered that to them. They don't like what we're doing? Sue us. But I'm the featured story on the front page of americaswrongfullyconvicted.com. And again, my name is Robert McClendon.
I was just pulling it up over here.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been on here before. I've seen Christine's lovely face. Christine and Paula. Yeah, I've seen those guys.
Yes. That whole family, for some reason, do not know how. They tell the wildest stories. They don't tell the truth about anything. And if anybody hooks up with any one of those 2 girls, God, I feel for them. If they don't get you now, trust me, they will get you, because Christine has gotten everybody that's ever been with her. She used to make false accusations on old boyfriends and everything else. You know, I thought she kind of grew up. You know, the first time I met her, I wasn't ready for any kind of relationship. But the second time I met her, I thought, well, maybe she's grown up a little bit. You know, maybe she's starting to change her ways a little. No, it didn't happen. And between that and her bipolar swings, between that and her drinking, you know, she was drinking like a half a gallon of vodka every 2 days. And she accused me of drinking. I don't drink hard liquor. The only thing I've ever drank was beer, and I drink very little of it. You know, sure, there's been times, you know, if I was at a party or something, you know, I might have had more, but I'm just not a drinker. But when they went through my house and took everything, they even took all of my pain medications, and that was from a trucking accident. In the letters, in their planning that they wrote, they said that they were tired of being broke. They never mentioned one thing about anything abusive that I have ever done. You know, if somebody's abusive and somebody's writing stuff like that, they'll write it. You know, they don't have any trouble. But I've never been abusive to them. The thing is, she got caught in a pickle because I got hurt, and they said something about me sleeping all the time. Well, that happens on some of the medications that the doctors give you. And that was the only time I could ever get any sleep. You know, I have a disc that's my L5S1 disc. It's completely gone. It's completely blown in my back. It's practically, basically bone on bone. And I still suffer from it. You know, and because I had to lay down a lot, you know, that bummed them out. I couldn't go back to being a truck driver. I had to go in the computer field. And then I found out even that was hard. I could not pick up, you know, server cases and printers and stuff like that. I couldn't do that. I might have known how to work on them, but I couldn't pick the stuff up and move it around. You know? And so a lot of my work I did it right from a terminal. You know, right from the server. But not anymore. They have wrecked my career. You know, because everybody does background checks on you. And that's just something you just can't escape. They put something like that, oh no, we don't want you. You know? So not only that, they trashed my career, and now I'm on disability. I was on disability when they pulled all of that because I was getting to where I could not keep up with the computer teams. I could not walk with them through the hospitals and stuff and keep up with them. This is back during the Y2K stuff. You know, during the Y2K threats or updates. And I couldn't keep up with them. And I had to file for disability. You know, I can walk a little bit, but I cannot walk that far. And I can't go around bending over or picking up anything because my back will pop out. But other than that, that's basically all I have to say. Just everybody, please read my story on americaswrongfullyconvicted.com, and I am the featured story on that front page. And be sure to look at all the evidence, and there's a breakdown of the transcripts that are on that page too, or on that site. There's a breakdown of the transcripts. And you'll see where their stories do not match. And how they keep changing them up. And professional law people, I mean, in the courtroom, professional officers, even a human being can't tell they're lying. You know, that tells you they don't need to be in that job. And that judge, she treated me like I was just a typical criminal. She knew nothing about me, you know, and stuff like that has to stop. In this country, you're innocent until proven guilty. Well, they didn't prove nothing. They just drugged me in, convicted me, and threw me out the door. And then the first airplane, the banner plane we flew over the courthouse, they thought, well, we better do something about that. Within 2 weeks, they had me off of a 5-year probation. I'd been on it for 3 years. They cut that off completely. The people, I was sent to I call it the nut house. But they said there was nothing wrong with me. And I was the only one there that was not on any kind of mental medication.
So, the trial, you're found guilty by a jury?
Yes.
Okay. And
if I remember right, it was 12 of them.
12 of them. And what was the sentence?
They gave me probation. They were being nice. They gave me 5 years probation. I guess because I'd never been in trouble before. It beats me, but that's what they gave me. But the conviction itself, that was bad enough. Being convicted for something you did not do or know nothing about. The daughter, she was mad because I locked the window. She had all those men, those young boys, lined up outside her window and the neighbors seeing it. And then she gets mad because I locked and foiled the windows. He said, if any boy wants to come see you, you're 18 years old, they can come to the door and knock on the door instead of coming through your window, and you can go out on a date. I said, you're old enough to get your own place if you want to, And then, of course, the mother being pregnant, that was her motive, because I was wanting to know what happened to that baby, because baby bones do not disappear. They just don't do that. And, it was during that time, that's when I noticed her starting to lose weight. I said, well, where did the baby bones go? I mean, why are you losing weight like that? The doctor told her, you need to come back to the hospital and have us examine you. She refused. So how she got rid of that baby, I have no idea. We also found another letter that was not my baby. We found another letter where she was having an affair with someone else and was saying that he was the father. Of course, she didn't want me knowing that. But as smart as they were, when they cleaned everything out, they left all the paperwork scattered all over the floor. So, I didn't want to leave any personal information. I just gathered it all up, me, my mother, and brother, and threw it in boxes. And it wasn't until a year after my conviction that we were digging through it, or my mother and brother were, and they found all the incriminating writings, all the letters, the plans, everything.
What did they say was the reason for putting it in writing, or did they say there was a reason?
No, there wasn't a reason, because the girls, her and her little sister, they always wrote. They had diaries and stuff. They were always writing stuff. That was just their nature. And let's see, they're Geminis. For some reason, Geminis just love to write. And, Sarah, she doesn't mind writing and dating stuff. She dated it, and not only that, she signed everything she wrote down. She signed it. And this is just, it doesn't make any sense to me at all.
wonder if the disappearing baby was part of their motivation.
Well,
Get you out of there before you discovered what happened.
well, they know that Christine knew that I wasn't going to give up until I found out. You know, because you know when you're 8.5 months pregnant and you're expecting a child, and all of a sudden, I took her to the hospital, and she still looked pregnant. But when they did a scan on her, they said there's no baby in there. My mother said what happened was she retained a placenta. That's why she still looked pregnant. But she didn't want me finding out that she was messing around with somebody else. And after that, what does she do? After she pulls this stunt on me and leaves me and all that stuff, she starts having an affair with an African American gentleman, and he is a 3-time felon. But in court, she starts calling me a felon, and I shouldn't have guns. I've always had guns. I don't hunt. I don't kill animals. I don't believe in that. They're only for home protection and target shooting. That's it. You know. Other than that, you know, I don't know what else to say. I never went out causing trouble in my life or nothing like that. But these ladies just decided to put me on the spot, and we have not stopped. The courthouse was not impressed with us flying the banner planes around the criminal courthouse. They didn't listen the first time. We did it again, and we're going to do it again if they still don't listen. We're going to do it over the rodeo this time, over the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. That's where everybody comes to. As a matter of fact, that's what we're planning on now. But
did you set up your website and Facebook page after this happened to you?
My brother and sister did. And we have volunteers and stuff that run it because, I mean, I've been threatened so many times for what they're doing. They threatened to jail me because of what my brother and sister were doing with that website. They were not happy about that. So what they do, they threaten me. My sister landed on that court probation officer. That lady was so upset she was rolling her head on her arms when we walked out of the room because my sister Anita landed on her. She says, I'll bring an attorney in here, and she says, and I'll start at the bottom and I'll sue everybody up the line. You know. But that's what they do. When to keep a problem from happening, first they want to declare you as a nut. They'll send you to a nut house. But when I finished showing them the evidence and all that stuff, I mean, and this was like during the 3rd year, they got to where they started believing me. At first they told me I was delusional, you know, which is their job. But when you start finding and dragging up evidence and stuff, you know, that tends to make people think a little bit different. And the bottom line is, these 2 women, they need to be picked up and prosecuted. And I mean, make an example of them.
But it sounds like you've got the evidence that where somebody should do that. But of course, you've been convicted and.
Yeah, they don't want to look at it. We took it to the appellate court. The appellate court looked at all the evidence, and they showed it. I think it was something like within an hour. With all that stuff we had, that would have been all day. The appellate court never looked at that stuff, even though it's time stamped. I think for an hour or whatever.
Was there any reason for the court to be against you?
No, there's no reason for them to be against me. All that is profiteering. That's all they're doing. They make money off of everybody that they can pull off the street. They make money off of everybody. They can pull off the street and throw them in jail. I mean, that tells you something. You live in the land of the free, but you also live in the land that has the highest incarceration rate of any place in this country, or in this world, I mean. They have the highest incarceration rate, and somebody's making money off of that. That's exactly what they're doing. And they don't care whose family they destroy, what reputation they destroy, or anything like that. They just don't care. They're getting their money and their stars. And what that judge did, she knew better than that. You know, she kept objecting to stuff that my attorney would say. I mean, I went into court with Richard Racehorse Haynes's office. His office, they were my attorneys. And on a case like that, that's that simple, and they lose it, that tells you something's wrong. You know, Richard Racehorse Haynes does not lose cases. You know, the young lady that represented me, her name was Sharon Levine. She worked for him, and she was bright. But how they got a conviction out of her, because she stood right in front of that jury and said, their stories are all over the place. And anybody that reads the evidence on americaswrongfullyconvicted.com will see that it's all over the place. That's not our fault. That's the way they told it. That's the way they presented it, Christine and Paula Trent. You know? And all you can do is take it and piece it together. The problem is the timeline and when everything happened. And they said that I had been abusing them the whole 13 or 14 years I was with Christine. Well, that's not the case, because she pulled a stunt back in 1997. I was living right down here off of Cypress Road. I got upset with her because she pulled her kids out of school and she was not teaching them nothing. I got upset about it. So what does she do? She tells her parents and all kinds of stuff, I pulled a gun on her. You know? And so she leaves for like 2.5 months. I should have never took that woman back. But I made her stand in front of her father and tell him the truth. You know? But this seems to really run in that family of telling wild stories. The whole family's like that except for the father. Except for Christine's father. You know? But how do you get around somebody like that? You get one idiot over here that says all they got to do is point a finger at you, and the other idiot says, oh, really? And they believe them, and they go after you. The hell with the evidence, or lack of, or the evidence that's against them, or whatever. They go against you. And next thing you know, you wind up in jail, and you've got a record on you. And your life is trashed. But other than that, I really don't have much else to say. You think?
Let me ask you a couple questions.
First of all, I hope the success of everybody that's involved that has had to go through this experience, and I hope their lives get straightened out. When it comes to my case, I want them brought to justice, and I want them prosecuted, and I want my life back. But I want this whole country, this whole judicial system, the way it's set up, I want it fixed. I want my country back. That's just basically the way it is.
Let me get you to say, I want